You know what nobody tells you about divorce? Your ex-wife just stepped straight onto a psychological minefield, a field she spent years convincing herself doesn't exist. And no, I'm not talking about some karmic payback where she suddenly realizes what she lost and comes crawling back in tears. I'm talking about something much deeper, more brutal. I'm talking about what happens when a person trades stability for an illusion and then watches that illusion shatter piece by piece. Right now, as you're watching this video, millions of men are sitting in their empty apartments, scrolling through their ex's Instagram. They see her posts about a new chapter and living her best life, and these men are literally torturing themselves, thinking she's out there thriving while they're drowning. But here's what's actually happening behind those filtered photos and motivational captions. She is flying at full speed toward a collision with reality. A reality so harsh that her brain will have to completely rewire itself just to cope with the cognitive dissonance. You see, when a woman leaves a marriage, especially a long one, she isn't just leaving you. She is leaving an entire psychological ecosystem that she doesn't even know exists. Think about it. However long you were together, you were her reference point for everything, every decision, every emotion, every plan for the future. You were in the equation. Even when she was complaining about you to her friends, you were still the center of her psychological universe. And now she's weightless, in open space, trying to convince herself that this is freedom. But let's be specific. Let's break down what happens next, because this pattern is so predictable, it's almost mathematical. Phase 1. The honeymoon with herself. This lasts anywhere from 2 weeks to 3 months. She's high on her own decision. It's pure adrenaline, the euphoria of burning bridges. She feels like she's dropped 200 pounds of ballast to you. Every morning she wakes up and mentally applauds herself. I'm so brave, so strong, so independent. She rearranges the furniture, signs up for that yoga class she always talked about, and downloads a dating app just to see what's out there. She throws out your old t-shirts she used to wear around the house, and it feels like a ritual cleansing. Every discarded item is another nail in the coffin of her past, boring life. She buys new lingerie, gets a new haircut, and posts a selfie on Instagram with a glass of Prosecco. Every like under that post is another dose confirming she was right. Her friends feed her validation like it's a drug. You're glowing. You look amazing. You deserve so much better. They celebrate her liberation as if she escaped from a prison, not a marriage. And she, of course, happily accepts the role of this martyr turned victor. This choir of friends, by the way, often consists of those who are either unhappy in their own marriages or single. They see in her not just a friend, but a projection of their secret desires. And she believes it. Oh, how she believes it. In this phase, she isn't living in reality. She's living in a story she tells herself. A story where she's the heroine who escaped mediocrity, and endless possibilities are waiting just around the corner. Her phone is blowing up with messages. Men are giving her attention she hasn't had in years. She feels like she's at prom again, and all the kings want to dance with her. Every super like is perceived as undeniable proof of her value on the market. She hasn't yet realized that on this market, she isn't the customer, she's the product. And this product has an expiration date that's ticking much faster than she thinks. And she interprets this as proof that she made the right choice. She is literally drunk on the illusion of choice. What she doesn't understand is that she is confusing quantity with quality, attention with intention, and novelty with value. She doesn't know yet that this whole fireworks display of attention is just the standard demo version the app shows every newcomer before the algorithms bury her. Phase 2, the awakening, or a slow motion crash. And this is where it gets interesting. This is more like a slow skid before the inevitable crash, because the euphoria from freedom was anesthesia, and now it's starting to wear off. It all starts with small things. She goes on her first real date since the divorce. The guy seems perfect, good-looking, successful, says all the right things. Dinner, drinks, Everything is going great. She's already mentally trying on his last name and thinking how great they'll look in photos on social media. And then, at the end of the night, he makes his move, and in that moment, a thought hits her like a bucket of ice water. This man doesn't care about her. Not really. He doesn't know she's afraid of thunderstorms. He doesn't know she checks the lock 3 times before bed. He doesn't know she cries during that one dog commercial. To him, she is just entertainment for a Friday night. Her entire carefully constructed fantasy of a new beginning shatters against banal, animalistic lust. And right there, the first crack appears in her perfect scenario. But she flaws it. To admit doubt now would be to admit she might have made a mistake, and that is psychologically unbearable. To admit that means signing a confession that she, with her own hands, destroyed her life for this. So she doubles down. More dates, more apps, more girls' nights out. Except now, something's different. The attention isn't intoxicating anymore. The compliments feel hollow. She sees that he's probably writing the exact same words to 10 other women on his phone. She starts noticing the details. How these men talk about their ex-wives. How they treat the waitstaff. How quickly they try to escalate things physically. And slowly, without even realizing it, she starts comparing them. To you. Not consciously, no. Consciously, she's still holding on to the story that you were the problem. But her subconscious is doing its job. It's pattern matching, comparing, and contrasting. That guy who seemed so charming, he constantly interrupts her. The one with the great job, he's as emotionally unavailable as a brick wall. That handsome guy from the gym, he's dumb as a post and only talks about his biceps. The one who was fun and spontaneous, he's actually just an irresponsible alcoholic. And with every comparison, you, in hindsight, start to look better, not because you were perfect, but because you were known, you were safe, you were home. Phase 3. The panic. This usually happens around the 6 to 8 month mark. The novelty has completely evaporated. That buffet of attention from the apps has turned into meager scraps, and the men who seemed like options turned out to be dead ends. Her friends are tired of hearing her dating stories. They see she's just walking in circles, and their support is replaced by quiet irritation and boredom. The kids, if you have them, are starting to act out and rebel because their world collapsed while Mom was finding herself, and it slowly starts to dawn on her that her self-discovery cost her children their stability and sense of security. She's exhausted from having to play at being happy, because now that's exactly what it is, a game. The mask of the happy and free woman starts to crack the moment she's alone in her car or the bathroom. Every living my best life post requires more and more effort. Every public smile feels heavier. She's an actress who has forgotten why she even took the role. The panic manifests in different ways. Some women go into overdrive, a manic pursuit of validation. More dates, more activities, more anything to avoid being alone with their thoughts. Others retreat. They spend weekends in bed, scrolling through old photos, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. This is the only safe place where she doesn't have to pretend and can mourn what she herself destroyed. But they all have one thing in common. They start rewriting history. The marriage that was so awful, well, maybe it wasn't that bad. You, the man she couldn't stand to be around, maybe she was too harsh on you. The future she was so sure about, maybe she miscalculated somewhere. That ceiling she thought she hit in the marriage now looks like a solid roof over her head, one she tore down herself. And this is pure psychology. She can't just admit she screwed up. It would destroy her self-esteem. After all, if she admits her mistake, who is she then? Not a heroine, but just a woman who broke her own life. She spent months, maybe years, building her identity around the image of the woman who dared to leave. So, she creates a new story, a story where maybe you've changed, maybe you've grown, maybe now it could work. This allows her to entertain the idea of reconciliation without admitting she was wrong. Phase 4. The reckoning. This happens around the 1-year mark, though for the particularly stubborn or prone to self-deception, it can take longer. The reckoning is when the psychological defenses finally fail. She can't maintain the story anymore. The loneliness becomes crushing. Not the kind of loneliness where you just wish someone was around, but the existential kind, where you realize you blew up your entire life for a fantasy, and the fantasy turned out to be a sham. She'll be sitting in her apartment one night, maybe after another disappointing date, or on a weekend when the kids are with you, and it will hit her, all at once, the scale of what she's done, the irreversibility, the fact that she traded an imperfect but real relationship for a perfect but imaginary one. The weight of this realization is so heavy that some women literally can't process it. Their brain just shuts down the emotional centers to survive. Apathy sets in, an emotional numbness, an inability to feel anything but this dull, aching pain in her chest. The world loses its color, and the future that seemed so bright turns into an endless grey desert. She begins to understand that the freedom she craved is really just another form of prison, only now she is both the warden and the sole inmate. It's in this state, at the very bottom of despair, when she has no strength left to pretend, that her finger reaches for the phone. And that's when the late-night texts begin. This isn't a calculated move. It's the pure reflex of a drowning person, instinctively gasping for air. You know these texts. They usually come between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. She might even delete it a second after sending, but the impulse is already out. They start, innocently, "Hey, how are you?" Or "I was just thinking about that time we..." But what she's really saying is, "I'm drowning, and you're the only life raft I remember." Sometimes they're angry texts, blaming you for things that happened years ago, because anger is easier than regret. Sometimes they're sad texts, reminiscing about the good times. It's testing the waters, but they all mean one thing. The grass wasn't greener, it was artificial turf. The irony. You're healing. You know what the cruelest joke is? Right around the time she's hitting peak regret, you are probably starting to heal. You went through your own phases: shock, anger, sadness. But men typically process divorce differently. We internalize, we rebuild, we focus on action, not emotion. While she was drowning in the chaos of her dates, you were clearing the rubble in your own head. You stopped asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and started asking, "What am I going to do about it?" You hit the gym, not to impress anyone, but to feel in control of your life again. You started reading those books you'd put off or launched that project you never had time for. And so, by the time she realizes what she lost, you've already started becoming someone new, someone better, someone who learned from the marriage and the divorce, someone who, ironically, might just be the man she always claimed she wanted. She thought you would break without her, that you were just the husband, an accessory to her, but it turned out that she was the anchor holding you down. This creates a personal torture chamber for her, because now she sees the version of you she dreamed about, and now she sees not a broken ex, but an upgraded version that she no longer has rights to. But it's too late. You achieved this without her, and the realization that she was the catalyst for your growth, but will never benefit from it. That's not just regret, it's a poison that infects her every day, and that's what keeps her up at night. The final blow, your new life. And then comes the moment, it always comes, when she sees you happy. Maybe it's a photo on social media, maybe you run into each other at the store, maybe the kids let slip how much fun they had with you and your new girlfriend, and this new woman next to you. She doesn't look like a supermodel, she just looks calm. And in her gaze, directed at you, your ex-wife sees the respect and admiration that she herself forgot how to feel long ago. And in that moment, something inside her breaks. For good Because your happiness is living proof. Proof that the problem wasn't the marriage. The problem was her perception of the marriage. You are capable of happiness. You are capable of love. You are capable of being the man another woman needs, which means you always were. She just couldn't see it. Or worse, she saw it but wanted more. She wanted a fairy tale prince, not realizing she was married to a real, good man. This is the final psychological blow. All that work on yourself she demanded from you, you did it, but after her and for someone else. The realization that she didn't leave a bad relationship. She left a relationship that she herself made bad in her own head. She was looking for a spark in the outside world, not realizing she was the one putting out the fire at home. And now she has to live with that knowledge forever, watching from the sidelines as you build the life she convinced herself was impossible just with someone else. With someone who appreciated what she couldn't. This other woman simply accepts you as you are, and in return, she gets the best version of you, the one your ex-wife never got to see. So, what really happens to your wife after divorce? She gets exactly what she asked for. Freedom, independence, a chance to start over. And she discovers that what she asked for and what she wanted are two completely different things. She wanted to feel alive again, but she feels dead inside. She wanted passion, but she got chaos. She wanted to be desired, but she became disposable. She wanted better, but she got different. And different doesn't always mean better. Sometimes different is just different. And sometimes, far more often than anyone is willing to admit, different is much, much worse. This was just a small part of what's hidden from your view. If you're tired of illusions and ready to see how psychology really works, your place is here. Subscribe to Psycheria. Hit the notification bell, because the truth you'll hear here, no one else will tell you.